folks, it's your boy Nintendo, and I would like to just introduce myself to the YouTube world, and where I like to share my gaming experience with you guys, how gaming impacted my life as a child and how gaming impacted in my life post-incarceration. Also, I ask everybody new to this channel, seeing this channel, I've had my channel created since 2024, but I recently started uploading videos like about 3 weeks ago. So I ask everybody who's seeing this to please subscribe. It would help me out a lot, and I'm gonna be delivering some interesting and good content. I'm a little camera shy, so it may take me a little while to develop good YouTube video editing skills, but I promise you guys I will try to deliver good and interesting content. And this channel is basically going to be based on, like what I said, how gaming has impacted my life as a child, has impacted my life post-incarceration, and how I want to make my children, my triplets, the next generation of gaming, and I want to introduce gaming into my kids, and they can have a fond memory of their father, introducing them to gaming, And yes, I like to share how gaming has also helped me out with my mental health, how it helps me escape my distress and PTSD and all the good stuff that, traumatized me, messed me up in prison, So I was always in and out of jail from like the age of like 13 on up until adulthood, but I want to start sharing how my life started as a kid in gaming. So I was born in 92, and as far as I can remember, my whole life I had a game console in my household, and my first console was a Nintendo Entertainment System. I can remember playing that when I was like 3 years old. That's when I had my memory. And I can always remember always having that console in my house with a stack of cassettes, in the living room, and sure enough, that's a game console I would play. Super Mario Bros, Mike Tyson Punch Out, good games, that I had. And then I remember my cousin having a Super Nintendo, and I remember the first game ever seen on a Super Nintendo was Street Fighter 2, and I was just amazed at the little sound, the gameplay, it was a very, very beautiful game. The graphics, I was like, wow, this is cool, and I wanted a Super Nintendo. And yeah, my mom ended up getting me a Super Nintendo. It was like towards the end of its life gen console, she ended up getting me a Super Nintendo like in 95. I was like 3 years old, and right when I know that I'm getting a Nintendo, I get introduced to there being a PlayStation, because my brother had a PlayStation. So it's like every time when I'm getting a console, I'm like, wow, I got the up-to-date console. Sure, there's a new console coming out. That pretty much happened until PS2 era. Then my parents started getting me consoles that were within its time gen, but yeah, man, so it went from Super Nintendo, playing Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Mega Man, Power Rangers. I had a lot of games for Super Nintendo, and then my brother influenced me into getting a PlayStation 1, because I remember him allowing me to go to his room, and I would see him play Tomb Raider, and I couldn't just not believe. In that time, as a little 7-8-year-old kid, I was like, wow, I was maybe even younger. I was maybe like about 6 or 5. Yeah, about 6 or 5. And I can just I remember feeling like, wow, you're in a whole little 3D world. It's like real life, walking around in this video game and seeing Tomb Raider shoot at the tigers and using her guns, and I was like, wow, this is state of the art. It's like I want a PlayStation 1. And I was also obsessed with the fact that it was CD format, because my whole life growing up I only seen game consoles that use cartridges. So to me, I was like, wow, CD is cool, And then sure enough, when I got my PS1, it was like about 99, so it was like towards the end of its lifespan, because I think PS2 came out in 2000. So yeah, I end up getting my PS1. I become, and then my brother introduces me to PS2. I see that he has a PS2. It's a very nice console. Play DVDs. I remember him playing Dynasty Warriors. And that's the first time I got introduced to a PS2. And shortly after that, my mom ended up buying me a Xbox. Like a year later, because I wanted an Xbox all over one game, and it was that WWF Raw, And I remember my brother telling me, "Why are you getting an Xbox? The Xbox sucks, and you should get a PS2." And I just wanted an Xbox because it was the new game. It was the new gaming console on board, and it had my game that I wanted. Because at that time I was a wrestling fan. A kid growing up. Like, what kid wasn't a wrestling fan? And young male. And sure enough, I ended up getting an Xbox. Shortly after that, my mom got me a PS2 as well. Very, very blessed. And I was introduced to those game consoles. I also did get a Nintendo 64. I forgot to mention, in the very late end span of its lifetime. But you had to have Super Smash Brothers. That was a must-have. And Tool Rock. There was a few great games. 007, GoldenEye, and whatnot. But it's when PS2 and Xbox and GameCube, that era, I was truly had every console in its lifetime of its span, when it was the trending console, up to date gen consoles. And man, those were some great days. I think that was truly the golden era of gaming. Some people say it was the PS3, Xbox 360, Wii era. I feel like it was the PS2, Xbox, GameCube era. But different strokes for different folks. Different opinions, different views. And well, now I have triplet daughters, and they're the ones that I want to introduce to gaming and create the new gaming generation. Gaming is very great, wonderful, can be very therapeutic, but at the same time, it can also be very hurtful if, especially kids, they indulge in gaming for long periods of time. It can, distract them from their education and other priorities. So, when we introduce our kids to gaming, let's do it with balance. Me, I can say I'm guilty of, abusing gaming, but it is my scapegoat with post-incarceration, sobriety. I struggled from a lot of drug addiction and drug abuse while I was incarcerated and as a teen, and I'm jumping back and forth. So then let me get back to it. So then shortly after the PS2 era, the great games we had, Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, San Andreas, and when I had my PS2, I was in elementary school. I remember when I got my PS2, Grand Theft Auto 3 had already came out, and I got it right when Grand Theft Auto Vice City came out. And I believe I was in 4th grade when Grand Theft Auto Vice City came out. I was 9 years old. I must have been in 4th and 5th grade, and that's when I got my PS2, when Vice City came out, and that was the game that I got with it. And I was amazed at Vice City, how it was like, wonderful game. It also perverted and corrupted my mind into, probably was the cause why I probably started misbehaving and got into and did bad decisions. But I'm not gonna fully blame it on gaming, but gaming had some influence in me doing bad, especially when you're autistic like me. It can get bad, and it can get serious. Nobody told me. I never had like a parent tell me, this is a game, this is only done in the games. If I see you doing it in real life, I'm gonna discipline you. There's gonna be repercussions. Never had nobody tell me that. So, I kind of took things to the extreme. Especially, like I said, being autistic when I was younger, it's kind of harder to, control things. But and then I start to get a little older. I start to smoke weed. I start to mess with substances, and that started to kill my gaming interest. Slowly but surely. And by the time the PS3 era came out, I was a teenager, a rebellious teenager. I had already done some juvenile hall time, and sure enough, I didn't get a PS3 right in time. I did get an Xbox 360. It was given to me by one of my friends, older friends. They just gave me Xbox 360. I don't know where it came from. Don't ask me how or what. They just ended up handing me an Xbox 360, and I would dabble into it, play it. I remember playing like Halo, tripping out on the Kinect device that they had gaming with it, but it wasn't something that I like. I'm hardcore gaming and playing and enjoying the console, which I regret now, because looking into that era was also a very, very great era. And then I got a PS3. And I kind of dabbled that into a little bit more than I did with the Xbox 360. I really liked that, enjoyed that. At the time, I was like, wow, PS3 is wonderful. I remember playing Marvel. No, it wasn't Marvel. I'm lying to you. It was Mortal Kombat versus DC Comics. That was a great game. Had some UFC games for it. Yeah, man. Pretty nice console. Call of Duty, Black Ops. Yeah, it was great. It was great. That era too. I can't say I was like hardcore playing like how I used to when I was a kid, but I probably played like 2 days, 3 days out of the week. Invest about 2 to 4 hours out of those days, because I was just running amok and doing bad. And then, sure enough, I got arrested. Ended up doing my prison time, and PS4 had just came out, but a lot of people still had PS3, especially in my area where I live. That's kind of like a rural and underprivileged area of community, so not everybody had a PS4, and that's when people were transitioning into it. And man, I just remember playing online, and it was free. You had internet service, you can play online for free, and boom, I get arrested. I missed out to the whole PS4, Xbox One generation, and we end up going from there. And then I get released in 2022, February. By December, like I said, my best friend, the mother of my children, she ended up buying me a video game console. It was like a Christmas gift, and wow, man, it was very, very. She's the one that rekindled this gaming man-child in me, She rekindled that, and I remember us walking up to a GameStop, and she just spontaneously did it. It wasn't like planned or anything. I was like, are you sure you want to spend about $700, $600 on a video game console? She's like, yep, I'm gonna do it. So I said, okay, and then she purchased it. She ended up giving it to me. She said, here you go, this is your gift. I was like, wow. And that's when she just rekindled the gamer in me, and that was February. That was around December of 2022. And I still remember that PS5s weren't just out there. Like, you couldn't just walk up to a Walmart or a Target and see one in their shelves. GameStop, the only way they would sell you one is you would have to be a pro member, and they would only have a few. The beat days you walk in there like, oh, we're sold out, and it was like, wow, it's crazy. And this was like already like 2-3 years into the system's lifespan, so I play PS5. I get introduced to, we have subscriptions. You have to pay for online. You have to pay for this subscription to be able to play your games online with multiplayer co-op. I'm like, whoa, this is a whole new thing. And then I was a little like upset about that, but then it outweighed the benefits that if you got a certain membership, like you get a game catalog in it, and so you don't have to purchase games on it. It kind of makes it's kind of like a subscription. You have some rented games up in there. Hey, I was low income growing up, so even though I had like game consoles up to date in gen, like we had Blockbuster. So my mom wouldn't buy me every damn game, you know. She would take me to Blockbuster and I would rent out games and play games. So it was like, you know, it's all right, but paying like $25 a month is kind of pricey. But luckily, when we got our PS5, or if she got me my PS5, there was like a sale for a year, like $80, and you get the most top tier subscription for PS5, and that's the one I ended up getting my first year, and that's what I got introduced. That this is new era gaming, new what, and from 2022 till 2025, the only gaming console I had was a Sony PS5. You know, I'm not trying to sound like a Sony fanboy, but feeling how Xbox 360 was, how even though I missed the Xbox One and the PS4 era, you can just see that PS4 was the most successful system, and it's just something about Sony. Sony knows how to do good gaming consoles, so you know Xbox was not for me, and I only had a PS5, and then Nintendo, of course, you know Nintendo's OG, Nintendo's respected. Nintendo has this nostalgic feeling it brings to me. So, and seeing the success of the Switch One, I almost wanted to get a Switch One. I just like around 2024, I was like, man, I want a Switch One, but I was like, you know what, I better hold off. 2023, 2024, I wanted to get a Switch One because I seen how great Super Smash Brothers Ultimate was, and you know some other Pokemon games, and kind of wanted it, but I was like, I'm gonna hold up and hold back till the Switch 2 or the Switch Pro, whatever the next gen console is gonna come out. And boom, Switch 2 came out, and to bring that up, that was the first console release that came out since my post incarceration, you know, since I've been released. And I bought it on release date. I actually pre-ordered it in GameStop. Was there the night before, how they do on the West Coast release, you know, picked it up at 9 p.m. and it was a very nostalgic, wonderful feeling, excited, couldn't believe I was out. It felt so surreal after doing 10 years that, you know, I'm here doing just the regular average Joe things, you know, and whatnot. And yeah, very, very wonderful moment, you know. And thanks to my best friend, my partner, that she rekindled the gamer man child in me. Because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have nothing therapeutic to help me escape my my problems, my stress, you know. Reintegrating to society has been really, really hard for me, especially because I'm autistic. I suffer from PTSD. Schizophrenia. Luckily, the medication has it somewhat, you know, maintained. But, you know, for me, gaming is very therapeutic. It helps me escape. And yeah, you know, sorry for fumbling the ball. You know, may bore you guys. But you know, I will get better with my videos and editing and all that. But this is my first video, so I'm gonna let it be, you know, authentic, genuine, just how it is. You know, I please subscribe. You know, I promise as the time goes on, I will have some juicy content coming out. Yeah, you know, I will rant and review a lot. I will share and review the games I play and how I feel about them. You know. And whatnot, you know, and also like to share with this channel how I'm trying to create the next gen of gamers, from, you know, introducing my daughters into gaming, which I think that would be a wonderful experience for fatherhood, father-daughter, you know, experiences, and, you know, keeping it fun and healthy. Yeah, folks, so please smash that subscribe button. Follow, like, you know, let me know what you guys think, what you guys, how you guys feel about gaming, how gaming has impacted your life and whatnot. You know, there's people who, you know, use games as therapeutic sessions, man. And, you know, YouTube, I just want to say with that, you know, guys, take care, stay safe, always enjoy your life, do what pleases you. And, you know, do whatever you like to do to the fullest, and never look for somebody else's opinion or approval, because the day you give somebody else's opinion, you're looking for somebody else's opinion or approval, you've given them the keys to your life in a way.